Hey everybody, ASIC Eric here, back on the Camaro today. I think today one thing we're going to do is look at these wheel wells a little bit more, try and figure out what to do. As a comment on my part 2 rear end video from AZ Frank about mini tubs, and thanks Frank. And I had thought about mini tubs a long time ago, but I really didn't want to butcher the whole inside of the car and stuff for that, and I didn't think I needed it. I tried to size those wheels and tires based on all the research I did that they would fit, and I think they probably still will with doing some surgery here. But I did go through and read all the documentation and stuff on those mini tubs. And one of the things that they talked about was moving the seat belt hole from here down to here. I think it's kind of hard to read in the directions, but you picture all of this stuff has to come out 2 inches, which is about to here. And in this area here, it kind of follows the curve like this and comes back. So they still do have a little bump right there, but they leave that little part for the seat belt. And why I have that hole there, I don't know, because it's it's not supposed to be there. So if we go with mini tubs, that would move this out of the way. And as I said, I think I need to be up to about here somewhere. I don't need that much clearance. I don't need 2 inches, maybe an inch. And if you look at the wheel well here, if I gave myself an inch from that point, that's probably all I need. Which is what I was thinking before, is just basically move this hump out to, here somewhere, just bring it in a little bit. So I may do that, just that may be good enough. So basically follow what the mini tub would have done, but instead of moving this whole thing out 2 inches, just move this part out an inch or something to make a little more room. But as I said, what we're going to do today is we'll put the wheel up in there, and the thing that I didn't check before was how much clearance we have back here. So we'll take a look at that, and if this is sizable back here, then we're really just in trouble here. I think we're going to be okay, but that's what we're going to find out, because the wheel was hitting right here with the spacer on it, and that's a good 1.5 inches back there. If that follows all the way around, no problem. That's with the spacers on, though. If we take the spacers off, we're back 3/8 of an inch from that, which is about here. Sorry, about there, which I think still leaves about an inch. And that, I don't know if that's enough or not. That would be a question I would pose to you guys. Because to get the travel on the rear end moving this way, you're going to hit up in the top there if this wheel's all the way up and that wheel's all the way down, kind of thing. I think even if that was the case, that would be a pretty rare occurrence, which may not be a big deal. To get that much twist in the rear end, that would be a problem. But once we get the wheel stuck up in there and everything, I'll take a look at it and take some measurements, and then I'll let you guys know what I find, so we can decide what to do. So one way or another, I think it's probably best to have this resolved before the rear end gets back, so we can actually put the wheels up in there and do all the cutting and welding and everything without the rear end in there, so I don't have to protect the rear end while I'm doing all that work. But we'll see. If not that, we'll keep working on the firewall. Plenty of work to do on the firewall. Let's take it one step at a time. So, and part of what got me thinking about the mini tubs and stuff as well is if you put the mini tubs in, you need to cut this brace off right here, and I have to redo this package tray anyway, so if I'm going to be cutting in stuff in here, I'd rather do all that at one time. So it's kind of a lot of staging things going on here. So anyway, I will apologize in advance for the events of the next 1.5, 2 weeks or something while we're waiting for that rear end. It's going to be kind of day by day. I don't know what we're going to be doing. Unless we go with the mini tubs, then I've got to bust my butt and get those installed in the next couple of weeks. They picked up the rear end Wednesday night, so it's supposed to be back in Indiana this coming Wednesday. whatever that is, the 10th, I think. Then figure a day or two for them to putz around with it, and then on its way back. So they'll probably have it out by Friday, and then that would bring it back here the following Thursday, probably, something like that. So about 2 weeks from today. Anyway, so that's that. We'll let you turn this back on once we know what the heck we're doing here. All right, so we are under the car here, and I just wanted to show you what we're looking at as far as clearance. So we have the wheel basically where it was with the rear end in and the 1/4 inch and 1/8 spacer, so a 3/8 inch spacer, which is what we're trying to get rid of. So here between the inner wheelhouse here and the wheel is at the tightest point anywhere in here is about 7/8 of an inch. And we could massage that out a little bit if we needed to. Elsewhere, it's generally over an inch by a smidge. So my thinking is if we take the 3/8 inch spacer off, that's going to make that 1/2 inch clearance here all the way along the bottom. And it looks like there's plenty of clearance the higher you go. So I don't think there's going to be any contact points up there. You know, there's nothing kind of tapering into the car. It pretty much goes straight up. This point down here possibly might make contact as the wheel's trailing away from the car there, the wheel well's trailing out. But this whole lip right here again could be nudged out, and that's about an inch deep. The wheel's about an inch below ride height right now, so it could come up from here maybe 2 or 3 inches, so it might make contact right here. But I think we could bend that out of the way. Sorry, we're looking at everything upside down here. Let me flip the camera, it might be easier for you. If that makes more sense for people who understand this car, what it looks like. So, where's my hand? Here, okay. So seatbelt holes right there. This is the widest point of contact we have down here is this spot right here. As you can see, is making contact with the wheel. And if we come back here, this little lip sticks out right here, so we could flatten that off. If you go from where the wheel is to the inside edge of this, that's 1 inch. Again, so it pretty much follows everything else we had here. So if we flatten this part out and take that line straight back there out to about where the hole is, that gets an inch of clearance there before we move the wheel back. So again, you'll have 1/2 inch, 5/8 of clearance there, which I think is okay. So the question for the crew there is, do you think 1/2 inch of clearance all the way around the wheel here is enough? And again, there's a 4-link in here, so it's pretty stable. It's not going to be sliding around side to side very much, hopefully. So it's basically only as the rear end twists up and down this way, or as the angle of the tires change, could it be making contact like that. So let me know. It looks to me like I don't have to bother putting the mini tubs in, but I will throw it out there and see what you guys think about it. We're still going to have to roll the lip there a smidge, only by about 1/4 of an inch. So it's not too bad. Sorry, making you guys dizzy here. Anyway, so that's it from underside the car here. I'm going to get out of here. All right, and under here now, where the seat belt hump is, I showed this before, but I didn't have very good lighting, so in another video you couldn't really see it. So again, as we walk along here, this inside edge of this thing, if you get rid of this fold over right there, is about an inch away from the wheel. So I said if we can carry that forward, we're pretty good, but that's going to be right to the edge of that bolt hole right there. It's about where that lines up. But this is also where the wheel is turning away right here. So it's conceivable that we could take this metal here and run it right up to the edge of that bung right there and just kind of follow that curve around, and it would be okay, but it's going to be really tight right there. So again, the alternative is, if that was a problem, we could move this over here. I don't have to go that far, but somewhere in the middle, whatever. And I saw that the, if I didn't mention this before, the mini tub kit looks like it comes with this guy to weld on a new one. I don't know if you can buy that somewhere if you needed to just put a new one right there. Just relocate it a little bit, give us some more room. That would give me a lot of peace of mind if I just relocated that
then I could just follow this line all the way up to here somewhere, and then I definitely wouldn't need to worry about clearance right there, I don't think. Again, assuming there's enough clearance for what you guys think about the rest here. Anyway, that's that. I should probably check the other side of the car and see what it looks like too, but I just wanted to document all this for you guys.
All right, we checked the other side of the car, and it's basically the same story as this side of the car. I think what we're leaning towards from what we saw was relocating the seatbelt hole down to here and just redoing that metal in there. I think that's going to be good. So that would, if we take all the spacers out, that will leave us about a 1/2 inch of clearance all the way around the back there. If we put a 1/4 inch spacer back in there, we have 3/4 inch. I would think between the two of those that would be good, and then it's just a question of do we need to roll this lip a little bit or a little bit more. I think that's okay. Again, I don't want to go down the road of doing mini tubs if I don't have to, so let me know what you guys think, if you think that's enough clearance back there or not. And we're going to wrap it up today, call it a short day. Been doing a lot lately, so we're kind of take it easy here. I threw the junker wheels on the front of the car there. I got the other ones under the car right now. And then my dad was asking about, what's next and body work and all that stuff, and so I showed him the miracle of guide coat. Some of you may not have seen way back in the videos when I was stripping this car, but I was using a flap disc on the metal here, which chewed up this metal pretty good. So my dad was looking at the car, like here you could probably see. He was asking, how are you going to fix this? What are you going to do? Keep sanding the metal or what, and filler. And I showed him the trick of the guide coat there. So I just sprayed the guide coat on real quick and sanded it down lightly, just to show him, this is what's so awesome about the guide coat, right? Is it, if you're paying attention, you can see all that stuff there, but some of it's harder to see than others. But it's immediately obvious when you put the guide coat in there where all this stuff is, and showed a huge dent right there that you could feel, but you couldn't see. Maybe you can see it a little bit, but we didn't notice it. So anyway, we're just showing, hey, this is what's next, and we were talking about this, and then filler, and then guide coat, and then filler, and then guide coat, and then high build, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Just kind of walking through where we're going to be going down the road. I'm getting ready for the next steps on the car, but that is it for today. So once again, thanks everybody, and if you have any input on the rear end there and the wheel wells and all that, let me know what you think, and we got to decide here pretty quick if we're going to do the mini tubs or not. And then also, if we don't get the mini tubs, I've got to try and find out where I can get those little bungs or whatever the heck they're called for the seatbelt mount. I'll go dig around that after I get done down here, see if I can find those anywhere. Maybe they're easy to find. I've never looked. But anyway, that's it. Thanks everybody. Have a good one.